What's up, everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys having a good one. Today we got part 2 of version 2 of my NBA 2023 draft big board of players. If you missed yesterday's where I did 31 through 60, you can go back on the channel and watch it. Yeah, thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Yeah, continuing with this draft stuff. Draft week. The draft is tomorrow. I'll have a mock draft out tomorrow of the first round. And yeah, I'm very, very excited for it. So yeah, let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. But before we get into it, just like I said in the other few videos, these are my opinion of my personal 1 through 30 of prospects in the NBA draft. You know, if you disagree, that's fine. You know, we all have our different opinions. Let's get right into it though right now. Starting at 30, we have Sidy Cissoko. He's 6'6", 224-pound wing. Played for the G League Ignite. He's 19 years old. He moves up 4 spots in my draft board from 34 to 230. And I think he's got a very interesting place type. You know, he's only 6'6", but he's very athletic. Likes to attack the basket. Likes to get out in transition, get easy dunks. Likes to get to the rim for nice finishes. Makes nice passes, like kind of drop-off passes down to the bigs. Yeah, very active hands on the defensive end. He averages a steal and a block per game. Just very high energy wing. You know, that plays a lot bigger than he is. He's 6'6", but he plays like he's 6'9". You know, plays like a good, like athletic forward. But he's really more of a 2-3. The only big thing is the jump shot. He doesn't really take a lot of jumpers. He only shot 31% from 3. So yeah, the big question is the jump shot. Can he be a consistent jump shooter? Because if he can, I think he'll have a very solid career as a really energetic, kind of good role player, you know, that does a lot of different things for a team. At 29, I have Trayce Jackson-Davis, 6'9", 240-pound big man out of Indiana. He's a 23-year-old senior. He stays the same as last draft board. He's a very interesting prospect as well because he played at Indiana, one of the best players probably in Indiana history. In college, had an amazing career. He averaged 21 and 10, with almost 3 blocks last season, his senior year. Very athletic big. He plays a lot bigger than he is. He's only 6'9", but he played a lot more of a big man role at Indiana with the NBA. I think he'd be very good. Probably, I've seen a lot of like John Collins similarities, and I really like that comparison. Just as like a lob threat, very athletic, big. You know, he has great touch around the rim, rebound, shot blocking, scoring inside is really good. It's just going to be very interesting to see how he translates as a center because he is only 6'9", 6'8", and a little bit smaller. Maybe, I don't know how it's going to translate, and he doesn't really shoot the ball either, so he's probably going to have to be a center, you know, even though he might get outmatched because of some size reasons against other bigs, but I think he'll have a very solid transition to the league. At 28, we have Rayan Rupert, 6'7", 193-pound wing. He played for the New Zealand Breakers last year in the NBL. He's 19 years old. He drops 4 spots in my draft board from 24 to 28. A lot of potential on both ends. Defensively, he's got a very long, I think about almost 7-foot wingspan, or a little bit over 7-foot wingspan at 6'7". Very long arms. Defensively, showing a lot of potential. Gets a lot of steals for easy transition points. He has a nice touch around the rim. Gets to the basket, very solid. Very high IQ guy. The offense is just still a big question mark as well. Especially creating his own shots, not really like that. And shooting-wise, he wasn't really efficient. He only shot 37% from the field and 31% from 3. So I'd like to see the offense get a lot more developed and consistent shooting. But I think with his defense potential and what he's shown potentially on offense, of his attacking and stuff, I think he's definitely going to be worth a late first-round pick for a team. At 27, I have Brandon Podziemski. He's 6'4", 204-pound guard out of Santa Clara. He's a 20-year-old sophomore. He jumps up 3 spots in my big board from 30 to 27. He's a guy, he went to a smaller school, wasn't really well known about, but he had a really good year last year at Santa Clara. Really good ball handler and finishing, especially a really good jumper. Shot 43% from 3, can grade his own. His passing ability is pretty solid. Rebounding, he averaged almost 9 rebounds per game at 6'4". So he's got a lot of skills that a lot of teams would like to have from a backup guard. You know, he can do a little bit of everything. The big question could be his defensive ability. You know, doesn't have a lot of length. So how is his defensive ability going to translate to the league? And then I'd like to see a little more off ball. I feel like he had the ball a lot in his hands creating at Santa Clara. How well is he going to play off the ball at the next level? But I think he's going to be a very solid role player for a team. At 26, I have Daria Whitehead. He's 6'6", 217-pound wing out of Duke, 18-year-old freshman. He drops down 3 spots, my big board from 23 to 26. He's a player I think has a very interesting range of where he can go. He was a top high school prospect, has some foot injuries, even now is suffering from a foot injury still that he just had, or foot surgery that he just had. And he's a do-it-all Swiss Army knife type of guy at Duke. You know, he didn't do one thing super well, but he did a lot of good things. Shooting the ball, he shot 43% from 3. Hustling, high IQ. His passing ability is very solid, finishing around the rim. The only thing is going to be his injuries. How is that going to affect him? And the injuries you saw kind of affect him at Duke because he didn't have that first step in getting to the rim consistently. Was a little bit shaky at some points. So, gonna see how that's going to be affected. But I definitely feel like a team should take him late in the first round because I feel like he has the potential to be kind of like that do-it-all Swiss Army knife, come off the bench type of dude. And if he does have the potential to be something more than that, it'll be a great pick. At 25, I have Maxwell Lewis. He's a 6'7", 207-pound small forward out of Pepperdine. He's a 20-year-old sophomore. He jumps up a spot in my big board from 26 to 25. He's a guy that he went to a smaller school, had a lot of draft hype early, and then as the year went on, kind of fell a little bit. But he's a scorer, a guy that can do it at all 3 levels. He gets to the basket. He gets to do in the mid-range. The 3-point shot is very good as well. Very long arms. Has the frame of kind of like a scoring type wing. Makes a lot of tough shots. Can do a lot on the offensive side of the ball, scoring wise. The big thing is going to be, how can he impact the game in other ways, and being a lot more off ball at the next level. But I think he's definitely going to be a guy that a team would take that has potential to be something great. He has potential. He has a very high potential. I feel like it's set, but also even if he doesn't hit it, he'd still be a very solid wing that can, come off the bench and get some buckets for you. At 24, I have Noah Clowney. He's 6'10", 210-pound big man out of Alabama. He's an 18-year-old freshman. He jumps up 3 spots, my big board from 27 to 24. He's someone that is a very interesting prospect. I feel like isn't really talked about enough around this range, but I think he'll definitely be a guy that a team really jumps on because he's a big man that can do a lot of different things. Defensively, he has a lot of potential. As soon as he gets better, but he has a lot of potential. He can space the floor, has potential to be a floor spacer, even though the shooting percentages weren't great. At Alabama, he had a lot of shooting opportunities, and he was very solid inside as well. High motor, high energy type of guy. As a big, that could be a power forward or center, but I can kind of see him maybe transitioning more into a center role at the next level because, I don't know, his game kind of just reminds me of more of a center. He definitely still needs to fill out a little bit more. There's definitely some times where, his lack of strength shows. But I think it'll definitely be worth a pick around this level as just a low, like a really good rookie contract type of center that can do a lot of different things. At 23, I have Colby Jones, 6'5", 199-pound, 2-guard out of Xavier. He's a 21-year-old junior. He jumps up 2 spots, my big four from 25 to 23. Just a very solid guard. Honestly, a combo guy that can play the 1, the 2. I like that he plays within the flow of the offense at Xavier. He's not a dude that, all right, give me the ball and let me ISO for 10 seconds. He plays, gets his when he can get his and flow the offense. He likes to attack the basket. He can facilitate. He can defend. He can do a little bit of everything. Just a very solid guard. I feel like it's a playoff team in the mid or late first round would take and will really benefit, from taking him because he'd just be a very solid guard that can do a lot of different things. Definitely needs to get better. Maybe like shot creating, and didn't really take as many jumpers as I would think he would take, at Xavier, but he's still a very solid guard, high IQ guard that I really like. At 22, I have Nick Smith Jr., a 6'5", 185-pound guard out of Arkansas, 19-year-old freshman. He drops down 4 spots in my draft board from 18 to 22. He's just a big wild card. He's a top high school guy, went to Arkansas, had a lot of injuries, has some inconsistencies. It's just very weird to see where his range is going to be or what player he can be because he does have a thin frame. He already has some injury problems. Wasn't really efficient. Didn't really do much without the ball of his hands. He's definitely a big, a microwave type of player that when he's hot, but when he's not really doing much else. He's not really a facilitator or anything like that or a defender or anything like that. So it's going to be very tough to see how he can translate, what he can do at the next level. But I think definitely a team around this range could take a chance on him just for the potential. You know, potentially he can be a really good shot maker. At 21, I have Jett Howard, a 6'8", 215-pound wing out of Michigan, 19-year-old freshman. He stays the same place on my draft board. He's the son of Juwan Howard, if you didn't know. And he's a shooter. Again, another microwave-type player. Shoots the ball a lot, shot 36% from 3. Get hot really quick. But also has shown some potential to be not just a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. Can also get his own in the mid-range and showing some stuff like that. The big thing is going to be his defense. He was not a great defender at Michigan. Still needs a lot of development there. But I think it's definitely worth a risk. Just like a, not safe pick, but just kind of a pick of anyone that needs a shooter. You know, he's there. Because he's definitely a player that, when he gets hot, he'll shoot the lights out. At 20, I have Kris Murray, 6'8", 213-pound wing out of Iowa, 22-year-old junior. He drops down a spot in my big board from 19 to 20. He's a twin brother of Keegan. And he's a very interesting player. You know, kind of has a lot of similarities to Keegan. I think he just can come in and be a really good role player wing in the NBA. You know, he's got good length, scores well inside. He was a really good scorer at Iowa. Rebounding really good, hustle, showing some ability to shoot the ball. Good, solid defender. Like, kind of a dude that you just plug in and he could play really well. Still a little bit questions like the consistency and can't really get his own efficiently. But then again, the NBA is not really going to be asked to get his own. It's going to be more of a space out and get yours when you can, like rebounding and stuff like that. And I think if he goes to a team like a playoff level team, he could be very, very good there. At 19, I have Brice Sensabaugh, 6'6", 235-pound wing out of Ohio State. 19-year-old freshman. He jumps up a spot from 20 to 19. He's a bucket getter. That's what he is. He's a bucket getter. I said this in my first one, but every time I watch him, I can't get TJ Warren out of my head because he just plays similar to him. Guy that knows how to get buckets, get to his spots, uses size to his advantage. He's got a bigger body, being 6'6", confident shooter. He shot 40% from 3. Very young, just came in and got buckets. You know, but the big thing is going to be, can he do other things? Defensively wasn't that good. Didn't really pass the ball much. Also, getting to the free throw line, I feel like because a lot of his shots were like low post or getting to the rim, he didn't really get to the free throw line as much as I'd like to see him get, especially as a scorer. But he's still got a lot of potential, and I would definitely take a chance on him just as a kind of guy, a scorer, a dude that can come off the bench and bring you some punch. At 18, I have Bilal Coulibaly. He's a 6'8", 194-pound wing. Played for Metropolitans in 92. He's 18 years old. He jumps up 4 spots in my ranking from 22 to 18. He's been probably the highest riser in the draft board as of the last few weeks. And he's a very interesting prospect as well. Very athletic. He tested very well in terms of like his size. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be. He's very, very athletic. Finishing around the rim. Defensively, he's got a lot of potential as well with his length. Yeah, he's got a lot of potential. A lot of potential to be something very, very good. The big thing is going to be his jump shot. You know, I didn't really I felt like he wasn't really confident in his jumper when I watched him play. I would like to see him get a little more confidence because he has a solid looking jumper. It's just can he consistently do it and have confidence in it? And he's not really, I feel like he's not really much of a shot creator as well. But then again, you know, maybe at the next level he won't be asked to do that as much. But I think he's definitely worth a chance, and I think he's probably going to go higher than 18. Like, I've seen some stuff now where he might go late lottery. You know, like, yeah, I think he's been a very high riser and a very solid pick in terms of, like, what he potentially can be. At 17, I have Leonard Miller, 6'10", 213-pound power forward, played for the G League Ignite, 19 years old. He stays the same ranking on my draft board. He's one of the more intriguing players because he has such a very fascinating game for his size. You know, he's definitely more of a forward. Really good at running the floor. I feel like every time he's going on transition, he was always the first one back, hustling on both ends. A lot of length, solid finishing around the rim. His handle for his size is pretty decent. He has some potential to be a good shooter as well. He has the potential to be a very kind of not unicorn, but kind of just the guy you can put all over the court, and he can do something with it. You know, it's just, of course, going to need a lot of development still. His jumper is still a little bit more questionable. I would like to see him get a lot more blocks and steals and stuff like that consistently. He definitely needs to get a little bit stronger as well, and his handle needs to get a little bit better. But he's definitely got a lot of potential as kind of a dude that can kind of do anything on the court. Put him at different positions. Put him at the 3, the 4, maybe the 5 if he gets a little bit stronger. And he can do a lot of different things. He's a very intriguing player. At 16, I have Dereck Lively II, the 7'1", 215-pound center out of Duke, 19-year-old freshman, stays the same on my draft board. And yeah, I said this a lot in my first draft board video, but he's just kind of the center that everybody wants. You know, kind of the prototypical new center nowadays, a Nick Claxton, Mitchell Robinson type of, Robert Williams type mold, big center that's going to not have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to do the little things. You know, he's going to set screens, he's going to rebound, block shots, and catch lobs. And that's what Dereck Lively did at Duke. You know, one of the better shot blockers last year. He averaged almost 2.5 blocks per game. Catch a lot of lobs, loves to dunk. Not even just blocking shots, but defensively, like on other things. You know, even like on the perimeter a few times, he held his own very solidly. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a dude that I think might go higher than around 16. I have him listed at 16 in the big board, but I could definitely see him going a lot higher just because he's kind of, again, that center that kind of everybody wants. At 15, I have Colby Bufkin, 6'5", 187-pound, 2-guard out of Michigan, 19-year-old freshman. He stays the same. My draft board. He's a very solid prospect, you know, as a guard that can kind of feel like play the 1, the 2, and the 1. He can do a lot of different things. He could attack the rim. Nice touch around the rim. Had a lot of tough finishes. Defensively, he hustles. Has a good hands, getting strips and stuff. Hustling on defense. His catch and shoot is very solid. Can be a good kind of secondary ball handler type player. Could do a lot of different things at the guard position. And I think he's definitely a guy that a lot of teams would like to buy in on because he's still super young and has a lot of skills. You know, definitely going to need a lot more development, obviously, as well. Like consistently creating. I feel like a lot of his creating his shot was just going to the rim. Like he didn't really shoot a lot of jumpers unless they were, you know, like catch and shoot. So we'd like to see maybe that get better. And a little bit more pace as well. I feel like he was just like a blur. Every time he got the ball, he was just going. I'd like to see him slow down maybe a little bit more. But I think he's definitely got a lot of potential. At 14, I have Jordan Hawkins. He dropped down 3 spots in my big board from 11 to 14. He's 6'5", 186-pound, 2-guard or wing out of UConn, 21-year-old sophomore. He's a shooter. That's what he's a shooter. Likes to run around all day. Kind of that Steph Curry kind of thing of just moving around, come off screens. He's a flamethrower. Doesn't really take much space or much time for him to just catch it and shoot that thing. He was an elite shooter, and everybody can use a guy like that, an elite shooter on their team. Definitely still a little bit more things, like doesn't really create his own shot, doesn't really pass the ball. Can he consistently attack and finish? Because he had a few of those, but he didn't really do it super consistently. And defensively, how was he going to translate? But I mean, the shooting ability is something just to buy in on, and he'll go in the lottery just because of that. That shooting ability is insane. At 13, I have Jalen Hood-Schifino, 6'5", 217-pound guard out of Indiana, 20-year-old freshman. Stays the same on my draft board. And I still have him 13 because I still feel like the same thing I said in my first draft board video is the same thing I still think here. Like, he's a big kind of point guard, great passing ability, great passing IQ. I like the pace he plays with. He has a nice touch around the rim. High IQ guard that has a lot more potential. I feel like he'll be a dude that in college was very solid, but the NBA with the right team, he can really be dang near like a star type of player. He's got the size, he's got the skill set of it, and I can see it. Like I'm really big on Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think a team, because I feel like a lot of my drafts I've seen him kind of dropping a little bit. It might be post lottery, maybe around like 17, 18 type of player. I think if I'm around that mold and I don't have a solidified point guard, I would definitely take a chance on Jalen Hood-Schifino because I really feel like he can be something really, really good in the league. At 12, I have Keyonte George, 6'4", 185-pound, 2-guard out of Baylor, 19-year-old freshman. He jumps up 2 spots from 14 to 12 in my big board, and he's a bucket getter. Very smooth as well. I love watching his game. You know, very smooth. Makes a lot of tough shots. He takes a lot of tough shots. It's a good and bad thing because he's a tough shot maker, but not really good shot selection. I feel like 95% of his shots were like very tough shots, but he's comfortable everywhere from the 3-point line, getting to the rim, scoring in the mid-range. He can do it all. Even his catch and shoot, when he had the opportunity, was really good. He gets to the line very well. The big thing is, yeah, he takes tough shots. His shot IQ not really great. He didn't shoot that well efficiency-wise. Shot 37% from the field. Yeah, what can he do off the ball when it's not just give me the ball and let me work? Can he do other things beside that? Can he play make? Because he also as a lead ball handler. I feel like he has potential, but he's not really a playmaker for others. So can he do that consistently? And then yeah, also he got injured late in the year, and when he came back from injury, he didn't look that great. So how much is that going to affect him? But I think he's definitely worth a shot around this range, just as like a dude that has a lot of potential as a scorer and a ball handler. At 11, I have Gradey Dick, 6'7", 204-pound wing out of Kansas, 19-year-old freshman. He jumps up a spot. My big board from 12 to 11. He's a shooter. He shot 40% from 3 last year. Can hit threes. He's also very comfortable doing other things. Comfortable dribbling. Doing a little pump fake. He had a really nice pump fake. Get to the rim. And layup or a dunk. So he has a little bit of potential to be something other than just a shooter. But I feel like the shooting ability is going to be the biggest thing about him, obviously. Still some questions about maybe, defensively our team's going to pick on him. Can he do the pump fake, get to the rim, and finish that consistently at the NBA level? But I think just with his shooting ability alone, he'll be a pick in the lottery for sure. At 10, I have Cason Wallace, 6'3", 195-pound point guard out of Kentucky, 19-year-old freshman. He stays the same ranking on my draft board. He's a guy that can do it both ways. Defensively, he's a hound. Average 2 steals per game, really good hands, very a point of attack kind of aggressive defender, really good. And on offensive as well, he can attack aggressively. Likes to drive, and his catch and shoot look very solid. As well, Kentucky shot 34%. Still needs to get a little bit. I'd like to see a little bit more playmaking. Didn't really do that much in Kentucky. Yeah, then getting better, just not catching shooting, but shooting maybe off the dribble, especially if he's going to be the lead ball handler. Maybe you have to create for his own a little bit. But I think with his defensive ability and what he can do on offense, he's definitely worth a pick around here, even though I've seen him maybe slipping a little bit in some mock drafts as of recently. But I really like Cason Wallace. I really think he has a lot of potential. At 9, I have Taylor Hendricks, 6'9", 214-pound wing at UCF. He's a 19-year-old freshman. He drops down 2 spots in my big board from 7 to 9. And he's a very interesting prospect. He's a wing that his shot blocking was amazing. Defensively, he was really, really good as well. Not just blocking shots, but, getting on the perimeter and stuff, getting steals, doing all that defensively. He's really good. And his jump shot looked pretty well. He shot 39% from 3, which is a big sign. A lot of teams want guys that can do the things he can do. That's going to play everywhere defensively, and then offense, he's going to hit threes. But he can also do other things, and that's touch around the rim. Kind of like a pogo stick I put in my notes for him. He's got that. If he definitely have that badge in 2K. Rebounding was pretty solid as well. The only thing is that, how consistent is the jumper. I feel like he might get a little bit too pick and pop heavy instead of pick and roll, because he's very athletic as well, and probably needs to get bigger around the rim. There's probably maybe some potential for him as a center, I think, but if he does, he would need to get a lot bigger and stronger. But even if he doesn't play center, him being a power forward, I think is going to be really fine. But yeah, he's a very good prospect around here. At 8, I have Ausar Thompson, 6'6", 218-pound wing from the overtime elite. He's 20 years old. He jumps up a spot from 9 to 8. My big board. He's guy that has a lot of potential. The athleticism, of course, is obviously there. The finishing around the rim is really good. The passive vision was even solid. The rebounding, the defensive potential that he has. They have both the Thompson twins, but Ausar has a lot of potential everywhere. And I feel like he's different because he has more of a scoring mentality than a man. Even though he can't play make, I feel like he looks a lot better as more of a bucket getter on the wing. Can do it. The two-way ability is really nice. He definitely still raw. Still needs a lot more development. It still needs to work on his jumper. But I think he's definitely going to be a high reward pick around this range. At 7, I have Anthony Black, 6'6", 210-pound guard out of Arkansas, 19-year-old freshman. He jumps up a spot from 8 to 7. And I really like Anthony Black. He's a bigger point guard. He has amazing passing vision and ability and IQ. Tough finisher as well. He's a bigger point guard. He uses his size to his advantage a lot of times. And does things off the ball. He's not just pound the ball and then make a pass, He did a lot of things off the ball, coming off screens, doing stuff like that. And the catch and shoot was very solid. That's still a big question, though. He only shot 30% from 3, and the jumper doesn't look amazing. But he has some potential to be a solid shooter. He's not really a dude that's going to get a bucket on his own or be an ISO player. But, I mean, I think that's really good. He could just be in the flow of the offense, can really run an offense well. And, yeah, I'm really like Anthony Black. And a lot of teams like Anthony Black, too. He's kind of been jumping up a little bit for the past few days in the mock drafts, which, I mean, I think is right. I mean, I think he has potential to be really, really good. At 6, I have Cam Whitmore. He's 6'6", 235-pound small forward out of Villanova, 18-year-old freshman. He stays the same on the draft board. He's a guy that is very athletic, has already an NBA-ready body. The scoring ability was there. You know, he scored from everywhere, basically. Getting to the rim and dunking on someone, or getting to the rim and finishing was really good. The mid-range was solid. Even the three-point shot, like I wasn't expecting the three-point shooting and the step backs and stuff like that to be as effective as it was, but it really was. And yeah, he's got the potential to be just a scorer that has a lot of defensive tools as well, do it two-way. The big thing is, can he do other things besides score? Can that defense really, you know, be good? Because if it can be at the next level with his scoring ability and his body, he could be very, very good. He doesn't really do much on the offensive end besides score. He only averaged 0.7 assists. But I think if his defense turns out and is really good, he can be a star. At 5, I have Jarace Walker. 6'7", 249-pound power forward out of Houston, 19-year-old freshman. He stays the same. My list. He's a guy that I really like on both ends. Defensively, he was all over the place, blocking shots, getting steals, playing on the perimeter, playing in the paint. He could do it all defensively. His jumper looked surprisingly well. He still needs to get a little bit more consistent, catch and shoot. But his jumper looks like it could be very solid on the next level. And he can also do a little bit more than just shoot the ball in offense. You know, he can face up and attack. They get to the rim, a lot of like step back mid ranges that I wasn't really expecting when I was watching his tape. But yeah, he has potential to be a lot more than just a 3-and-D wing player. You know, the only thing is that going to get too much? Is he going to start getting a little bit more ISO heavy? I could see that maybe being in his career, him being more of a one-on-one player. But I think if he can do that while also having a good balance on offense of just shooting, but also when he needs to get his own, he can do it. I think he could be very, very good. And he's already got an NBA-ready body. Can already do a lot of different things. You know, and I'm very excited to see what he can do at the NBA level. At 4, I have Amen Thompson. 6'6", 214-pound guard. Played for Overtime Elite. He's 20 years old. He stays the same on my draft board as well. And I like him better than Ausar, but I think he's got potential to be really good as well. He's a lot more of a point guard. I feel like Overtime Elite, a lot more playmaking. He's comfortable being a lead ball handler. If he needs to play point guard, he can. He has very solid passing vision and ability. Defensively, of course, he's there too. The athleticism is there. Solid finishing ability. He's got it all. He really does. Has a potential to be really, really good at the guard position. Of course, the jumper is going to be the big key as well. Didn't really shoot the jumper as much as Ausar did. Didn't really shoot as confident, I feel like, as Ausar. Ausar was a lot more of a confident shooter. Even if he was missing, he was shooting it. Amen doesn't really have that. He's more of a... That's why I classify him more as a guard, because he's more about getting his teammates involved and more of a playmaker, ball handler, you know, that can also score than Ausar. But I really like Amen Thompson. If he does go to Houston maybe at 4, I think that would be a very good pick for them, because he's got a lot of potential. At 3, I have Brandon Miller. 6'9", 200-pound forward out of Alabama, 20-year-old freshman. He stays the same. My draft board. I mean, he's got a lot of potential. He's got potential to be something great. You know, the 3-ball, of course, is there. Has a lot of confidence. Not afraid to shoot it. You know, from anywhere, from deep. His touch around the rim is very solid. He's got a lot of length. You know, his potential to be a solid playmaker as well. He's got potential to be something really, really good. You know, as a do-it-all star wing. The big thing is the weight. I feel like, and there's also been some things the past few days about it. He has mononucleosis, so he's been losing weight. He hasn't really been doing that great at the combines and stuff, but he still is going to go top 3. I mean, he still has potential to be a star with the frame, with the skill set. I mean, he's potential to be really, really good, and he's already going to be really good at just with his shooting ability, you know, and his length. You know, he's already going to be really good, but I think with the right development and the right system, he could be something great. At 2, I have Scoot Henderson. 6'2", 195-pound point guard, played for the G League Ignite. He's 19 years old. He stays the same. My draft board. I'm a big fan of Scoot. I mean, the athleticism, he already has at this age. The strength, the speed, everything is really good. The attack in the basket, the athleticism is there. The scoring ability, not just by going to the rim and scoring, but the mid range. The mid range, I feel like, was money. I was watching it. The pull up, the step back was great. The playmaking ability, of course, is solid. And he's someone that I was really surprised by the pace he's playing. I feel like with his athleticism, he could just be a dude that just gets the rebound and just go, trying to run fast breaks all the time. But he played within, played a really good pace. In the G League Ignite. And I'm a big fan. I really think he's the number 2 guy. If Victor wasn't here, he'd be the number 1 for sure player. He's got that kind of mold of with the potential to be an amazing player. Stuff he needs to get a lot better. The 3-point shot is a big thing. We didn't really see a lot of floaters or things like that in his game as well, the G League Ignite. But I think he can definitely work on those 2 things. And if he does and gets those solid, he could be something scary, man. He really can. And our number 1, no surprise, we got Victor Wembanyama, the 7'5", 220-pound unicorn from the Metropolitans 92, still 19 years old. Of course, he was the number 1 on my last draft board as well. I mean, we don't really have to talk about it that much. I mean, he's Victor. He's gonna be the number 1 pick. The skill set he has, that height he has, is just something otherworldly that we've never seen before ever. Yeah, and I'm just very excited. I think we're all very excited to just watch him play, watch what he can do at the NBA level, and really root the best for him. Because a lot of pressure is being put on him. I just watched his interview with JJ Redick. That was amazing. Go watch that if you haven't. That was an amazing interview. Just to know more about him, and yeah, I'm really rooting for this guy because he could be something we've never seen. We might not ever see ever again. His height and his skills. I mean, we don't see that every day, So again, I'm very excited to watch him play in San Antonio, and just looking forward to the future with him. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. If you missed 31 through 60, uploaded yesterday, you can go watch that. And then I also did a version 1 of this draft board last week. You can go back and watch those. Tomorrow I'll be doing my mock draft of the first round of the draft before Thursday night. It'll probably be out around the same time Thursday. But yeah, go watch that tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.